Theranostic nanoparticles revolutionizing cancer and imaging. Hello, everyone. My name is Amnah Minhas, and I'm a student of Harris Health System School of Diagnostic Medical Imaging. And today, I'm here to talk to you about a latest technology, once believed to be a figment of our imagination, but now is revolutionizing cancer and imaging. Theranostic nanoparticles. Nanotechnology is a study of matter at a very small scale. How small, you may ask? Nano means a billionth of a meter, and to put that into perspective, an average human hair strand is about 80,000 nanometers wide. Nanotechnology may be small, but it is leading to some incredible scientific advances that will and have been improving our daily lives. Nanotechnology is currently being used to create a much cleaner, safer, and sustainable environment by helping in water and air purification methods and by removing pollutants from groundwater and soil. Not only that, nanotechnology today is being used in our defense sector to create state of the art drones and artificial intelligence that allow for remote operations. Nanotechnology is being incorporated in various disciplines across the board to help create new innovative methods and products, such as energy, automotive, electronics, and healthcare innovations. But before we dive headfirst into this advanced technology, we must go back and observe where and when did all of this start. A common misconception is that nanotechnology is brand new. But in reality, the progenitor to all nanotechnology began all the way back to the 9th century with the development of metallic nanoparticles in cathedral glass. It was used to stain the glass windows with vibrant colors. Then, during the 13th century in Damascus, carbon nanotubes and cementite nanowires were being incorporated in the blades of swords. And as the decades passed, nanotechnology continued to expand vastly. And it was in 1974 when the term nanotechnology was first coined by a Tokyo professor. And from there onwards, by 1990s, nanotechnology companies began to develop. And in 2005, the nanotechnology panel of the American Chemistry Council was formed. And now, by 2025, nanotechnology is projected to revolutionize DNA mapping and help modify the human genome to prevent diseases like diabetes. Pretty cool, right? For something so minute and small having such great capabilities. Let us focus our attention now to one of the most well known yet critical pathologies in our world today: cancer. So much more than a simple word. The mere mention of the word brings about the feelings of fear, hopelessness, and inevitability. It is a disease which has caused millions of deaths worldwide annually, a disease that has affected all of us in some sort of way. Who here has a family member, a colleague, a friend, an acquaintance, or perhaps even themselves who has been affected by cancer? Cancer has been known to mankind for centuries. It is a disease where abnormal cells divide uncontrollably and destroy body tissue. Cancer is a deadly disease increasing in numbers exponentially. Due to the length of time that cancer has existed, mutations have increased vastly. There are many types of cancers, some of which we commonly know are leukemia, lymphoma, melanoma, cervical, breast, and lung cancer. And the difference between them is where the cancer occurs. According to the National Cancer Institute, the number of cancer cases is expected to increase to 21 million in 2030, and the death toll is projected to increase to 13 million. Take a moment to let those numbers sink in. Depending on the type of cancer, one may feel and experience different signs and symptoms. More often than not, cancer does not cause pain. Based on research, headaches, seizures, and vertigo are symptoms related to brain cancer. Additionally, in lymphoma, one may experience swelling of the lymph nodes, whereas cough and dyspnea are associated with lung cancer. This is only three of the most prevalent symptoms I'm specifying today, but with further research, you will find that there are more, and the list just goes on and on. The fact that there's so many patients constantly being diagnosed with cancer is alarming and suggests the need for revolution in diagnosing and treating cancer. What if I told you the revolution that we immensely need and desire is not far from reality? This revolutionary technology is 1,000 times smaller than anything that we can see with an optical microscope. They are nanoparticles. And for those who do not know, Iron Man as well as Spider Man use nanotechnology to create their suits in Avenger Infinity War. Nanotechnology, which was once fiction, is now reality. Nanoparticles are theranostic agents that integrate the modality of diagnostic medical imaging and therapy into a single package for cancer treatment. When it comes to diagnostic imaging, its importance cannot be overstated for diagnosing and the monitoring of cancer. Computed tomography is one of the most commonly used medical imaging modality that provides high-resolution 3D images of soft tissues by using iodinated contrast agents and barium suspensions. The cross-sectional images that are generated during CT scans can be reformatted into three different planes. Here we have the axial plane, dividing the superior inferior body, sagittal plane dividing from left to right, and the coronal plane that divides from interior to posterior. But that is not all. CT technology has advanced to the point where physicians are not only able to create, but also manipulate 3D holographic reconstructed images. Even with these enhancements, there are numerous limitations, such as the contrast agent currently being used causes renal toxicity and have short imaging times due to speedy clearance, their non-specific biodistribution, non-targeted imaging, and most dangerously, maintaining adequate image contrast by increased radiation dose. Although CT provides fast scan time, superior spatial resolution, and is of low cost, its increased ionizing radiation and patient dose cannot be ignored. Researchers have reported that 70% of radiation dose received by patients undergoing imaging tests is acquired from CT scans alone. Even with its drawbacks, CT technology has become a limitless modality in terms of the way it has transformed medical imaging for the better. In the medical world, researchers tend to focus upon the biggest, the best, and the latest, when in today's modern age, they should begin to shift their focus back to the microscopic realm. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you how nanoparticles, although tiny, can greatly enhance future contrast agents beyond what the mind thought was feasible. Nanoparticles possess unique properties that help combat the specified limitations. They provide low renal toxicity and have longer blood circulation time. Theranostic nanoparticles assist in diagnosing the disease, reporting the location, identifying the stage of the disease, providing information about the treatment response, and can even carry and deliver therapeutic agent to a tumor. But most importantly, nanoparticles have a higher X-ray absorption coefficient, creating optimal images with high contrast and lower radiation dose, helping us stay true to our ALARA principle, thus eliminating one of computed tomography's most controversial dilemmas. Numerous researches have been performed on nanoparticles as a contrast agent, and the results all point towards the same thing. Nanoparticles provide images with higher spatial resolution and higher contrast to noise ratio with low radiation dose in comparison to iodinated contrast agents. Let's look over the results of some of the researches performed. The graph on the left was taken from a research that was performed between gold nanoparticles and the most commonly used iodinated contrast agent, VisiPake. And it was found that when we increased the concentration of nanoparticles and the VisiPake, gold nanoparticles produce approximately 5 times higher contrast to noise ratio in comparison to VisiPake. Now, on the right image was taken from an in vivo experiment conducted on a mouse with a tumor. As you can see, the tumor is barely noticeable without the gold nanoparticles, but when the gold nanoparticles were incorporated, the tumor became more noticeable. Moreover, using a targeted gold nanoparticle, the tumor is more defined and has greater contrast. Unbelievable, right? One may have never considered integrating something microscopic and invisible to the human eye into medical imaging. Nanoparticles have the potential to not only transform the imaging world, but also possibly revolutionize how cancer is diagnosed and treated beyond what researchers can currently fathom. Wait, but that is not all. Did you know that during conventional cancer treatment, only 1 out of 100,000 drug molecules actually reach the intended site of disease, making the treatment not only ineffective but also outdated? But have no fear, nanoparticles are here. Nanoparticles are capable of engulfing therapeutic drugs and delivering them to targeted disease cells. Nanoparticles are revolutionizing the treatment of cancer by not only enhancing treatment by reducing the amount of medication required, but also the side effects. But most importantly, nanoparticles have the capability of being engulfed by cancerous cells, ultimately releasing the drugs and destroying only the abnormal cells, sparing as many healthy cells as possible. And for those sitting out there in the audience who are more of a visual kind of person, don't worry. I have incorporated a video to show how nanoparticles act as a drug carrier to destroy tumor cells. This video was created by University of New South Wales in Sydney, Australia.
Scientists are using cells isolated from human tumors to develop new ways to tackle cancer. Here we can see the cancer cells growing in a culture dish in the laboratory. For most drugs to be active, they must go inside the cancer cell. Scientists are developing tiny particles, nanoparticles, that can be loaded with drugs. The nanoparticles can be modified so that they attach to the cancer cell and get carried inside. To make sure that the drug-loaded nanoparticles only attack the disease cells, they are engineered so that they only bind to the target cancer cells and not to neighboring healthy cells. Once they bind to the cancer cell, they are taken into the cell. They can't pass through the surface. Instead, part of the cell surface forms a pit, and then it engulfs the nanoparticle. Now we are looking inside the cell. Cellular proteins wrap around the vesicle and drive it inside the cell. You can now see a vesicle carrying the nanoparticle moving towards the very center of the cell. The vesicle carrying the nanoparticle travels further inside the cell and then fuses with a compartment called an endosome. This is part of the digestive system of the cell's stomach. The inside is acidic, and its job is to digest incoming material. The nanoparticles are degraded inside the endosome, releasing the drug into the cell. The drug can then kill the cancer cell. Nanoparticle-based drug delivery provides a way of attacking cancer without the side effects of conventional chemotherapy.
Now I know what you're thinking. If nanoparticles are so great and even research backs it up and clinical trials are being undergone, then why do we not see them today in hospitals and clinics? Unfortunately, with every advantage with the newest technology, there tends to be a downside as well. And even though nanoparticles are so small, they manifest big problems. Everything always comes down to money. Can it be affordably manufactured at a commercial scale? As nanoparticles are intravenously injected in the patient, cost not only comes down to synthesizing and manufacturing the particle, but also sterilizing and purifying them. Moreover, for targeted delivery and imaging, specific nanoparticles have to be manufactured having surface lesions specific to the tumor, creating an issue on a commercial level. Last but not least, toxicity caused by metallic nanoparticles is undoubtedly worrisome and warrants further research into designing nanoparticles with material that is non-toxic to the human body. Nonetheless, nanotechnology constantly proves to be promising in the field of medicine. Nanotechnology has tremendous potential and is constantly evolving. Trends are pointing towards researchers shifting their thinking to the smallest of technology to solve the biggest problems in the healthcare field. Nanotechnology is the future of medicine, and by 2024, the global market for nanotechnology will exceed $125 billion. Over here on the left, we see a nano robot fixing a neuron, whereas on the right side, we can see a nano robot which is finding cancer cells to destroy it. The only limit to future applications is our imagination. Cancer has been an existential threat for centuries, and nanoparticles may be the long sought solution to finally combating this deadly disease and reversing its trends once and for all. In a world where bigger is often considered to be better, nanoparticles are an exception to conventional wisdom in their potentiality in becoming a revolutionary step in personalized medicine. Thus, when it comes to nanoparticles and their mission to stop cancer, it is time to stop thinking so big and start thinking small. And if I could leave you with anything, I would just like to say, remember, the next big thing is really small. Thank you so much.